All right. All right. So far, going through timeline order of the MCU, we've looked at Captain America: First Avenger, and we've looked at Captain Marvel. Next on the list is the first Iron Man movie. Yes, this movie is kind of funny, even though it is third in timeline order. It is the first movie in the actual MCU phases. I can't remember if the Hulk movie with Edward Norton was before or after it. I feel like it was probably after it. Let me know what y'all think about that in the comments. But yeah, the first Iron Man movie, for me, this is what opened it all up. This is what broke ground. I saw this at the Cinemark Theater in Seattle, Washington, way back in the day. And I tell you, man, it was such a roller coaster ride of an experience. Everybody was chanting, raving, hollering, standing up from their chairs. It was the movie. It was such a jackhammer of a film. It introduced, I mean, of course, there were other superhero movies before this, but I Iron Man really opened up this next generation of superhero movies. Uh, it's, I mean, honestly, Robert Downey Jr. Uh, it's like he was meant for the role of Tony Stark. If I was like, if there's no other reason for you to see it, if you haven't seen it for some reason, like, Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark is so iconic in that role. Yeah, he's perfect for the role. Everything about him in that movie is great. His interacting with Pepper is fantastic. I would actually say their courtship in the beginning of the MCU phases is fun. It's special. It's interesting because this is a man that, I mean, he he, he's a free bird, right? But he keeps kind of fluttering around this one spot, and that's right next to Pepper. like, like he really, actually wants to be with her. And it's interesting seeing him kind of mess around with these other women, but he's kind of flying around her the whole time. It's kind of fun to watch them kind of interact because Pepper tries to act like that's not happening, but it is, and I don't know, it's cute. Jon Favreau is happy. He's an interesting character in that he's very much a supporting character, but he's so fun and charismatic in his role, being basically Tony Stark's right hand man. He's just fun to enjoy. And the fact that he was like also directing that movie, it just really shows his talent as a filmmaker as well as an actor. The dude's just rock solid. Jeff Bridges, uh, he uh, I've always enjoyed Jeff Bridges and like everything I've seen him in. He's just a fun actor. Every role he's been in it's just been. He looks like a cool dude, a cool, calm, collected dude. He's the Big Lebowski. He's also Obadiah Stane. I think that's what his last name is. In the first Iron Man movie, seeing him in the villain role is really cool because he has this cool exterior. He's like this tech mogul, kind of like a cooler Jeff Bezos kind of a guy. You're like wondering, is that even possible? But he's such a cool, just with the beard and the goatee. But you just know right off the bat that he's like this shark of a man. I mean, I guess you have to be in the business of manufacturing weapons. You kind of forget that actually, just how cool these guys are. Both Tony Stark and Obadiah. They're just these guys that they're like rock stars in their field, which is kind of funny to say because again, these guys, their primary focus, the primary income is making weapons, killing machines. You forget that. I think that's kind of hard to do personally, uh, just to kind of have somebody be in such a murderous profession and uh, behave as if they're just, I don't know, this this guy that you feel comfortable around, kind of a thing, if that makes sense. Um, but I like that he's a villain. He's very interesting in that he's ruthless, but you don't know he's being ruthless until it's kind of too late, kind of a thing. So a fun character. I think he's a fun opening bad guy. Um, the rest of the villains in the movie, at first I thought they were two dimensional, but watching it again with intent, I've heard this before, but I see it now very clearly. They're part of the Ten Rings, the Mandarins group. They actually make quite a bit more sense once you really get into the movie, understanding how Obadiah is connected to everything. Uh, it the, they have their purpose more than just giving Iron Man people to shoot at. Um, yeah, I actually I really like their addition to the film. Uh, Rhodey, James Captain James Rhodes, Tony Stark's best friend, War Machine. This movie is interesting. They don't introduce Rhodey as War Machine just yet. In there, this is back when Terrence Howard was still in the role. He's great in it. Honestly, he brings a different kind of gravity to the character than Don Cheadle does. I like them both quite a bit. So I think seeing Terrence Howard in this role is great. It's almost like watching an alternate reality because you're like, I wonder what could have been if he was actually able to stay as the character through the rest of the movies. I wonder how that would have changed the whole gravity of the MCU because Don Cheadle has a certain other kind of feeling to him. He's very well interwoven into all that stuff. So Terrence Howard was great in short. All right, let's talk about the story. Uh, it is probably one of the most iconic origin stories out there. I don't know if it's just because this movie was the first in the MCU or if we just all kind of knew about it a little bit before that. But the story, it was, at least when I came into it from the first time watching it and now, I knew the rough beats of what was going to happen before they actually showed up on screen. And it didn't ruin it at all seeing it again and again and again. That's a good test of it. To me, a good story. It felt comfortable. It felt uh, expected. It's like a McDonald's cheeseburger or McDonald's fries. You know what you're getting, and when you eat it, it's delicious. And the same thing for the Iron Man story. All of it, really. Um, there might be some spots here or there, maybe some holes, but nothing I can really, speak to too strongly. It just kind of fits together nicely. Um, Seeing just the betrayals and the twists and the turns and all of it you can expect. I feel like none of this movie is meant to be a mystery, but it doesn't need to be. Right up to the moment where he announces to the all the reporters that he's Iron Man. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I wasn't surprised. I don't think anybody was surprised that he was going to do that. Combat. Uh, when he's up against other humans in the Iron Man suit, it's awesome because he's kind of like Superman in that he just kind of owns everybody. Nobody can really step up to him. Is the thing. Nobody can. He just kicks everybody's ass when he's in the Iron Man suit. When he's up against the Ironmonger suit later on, it takes it up to another level. Just because you get to see what he's like against an actual other super powered being. Again, this is the first movie in the MCU, so these two guys fighting isn't necessarily the first encounter we have with superheroes in the timeline order, but it's definitely the most modern and public at this point. And it's awesome. It's really cool to see. It really opens up the world, their modern world, to the superhero and the supervillain. So it's very iconic in that sense. Overall, it's a great movie. It stands the test of time. You could say uh, it's perhaps a teensy bit dated in its sensibilities. Um, just in the sense of, Tony Stark, he's such a uh, alpha male of a man, but only on like the surface. I think that's what's kind of fun about Tony Stark in general, which I'll dive into more as we talk about these movies. Is he he behaves like this alpha dog, macho man, womanizing, top of the world dude, and he is, but at the end of the day, he's a good guy. He's actually a good guy, and he's just trying to do a good job, and I like it. All right, that's it for that review, and more to come.